from Retiring Disgracefully. I'm here on Wahin Beach. Notice I say Wahin, not Huhin. I'm learning. And as you can see, there's a lot of windsurfers out here, or kite surfers, whatever you call them. Must be at least 30 of them. Very good day for it, very windy, very strong conditions. Waves are quite rough. But the sun's still peeking through, so it's still a nice day. Whether you're planning on retiring here or living here, or even just coming here for a week's holiday, there's certain things you have to remember about coming to Thailand. More so if you're coming from a Western country. The rules and everything are different here. There's different culture, different way of life, different religions. It's 95% Buddhist, probably 5% Muslim. Obviously different rules, regulations, and different ways that you should do things while you're in a country that's not your own. What you do in your own country is completely different from what you might want to do here. So I've come up with 10 things that you should not do when you're in Thailand. I'll start off with driving here in Thailand. I did a video on this before, but I just want to reiterate it. Driving here has its own rules, or lack of rules I should say. And you have to be aware that when you come here that it's very dangerous. It's not a place to learn how to drive. If you've hardly ever driven a motorbike in your life, it's probably not a good place to learn. My ex-girlfriend used to have a barber shop opposite a motorbike rental shop, and I'd see, Farang tourists coming, and they'd get on the bike and do a quick test drive up and down the street, and they were wobbling all over the road and laughing and joking, and had no bike sense at all. I'd never driven one before, or maybe driven a push bike before, but never a motorbike. And then they've decided to come here and rent one. Well, you take your life into your hands driving here when you can drive a motorbike properly, and when you're aware of the problems that driving can cause in Thailand. So if you come here on holiday and you just think, oh, I'll rent a motorbike, it could be very, very disastrous. You could end up sort of ruining your holiday, or best case scenario of that, or worst case scenario, dying here. So yes, driving is a very big problem here, and it's something that you shouldn't do unless you really are a confident driver of a motorbike. I spoke with someone the other day regarding licenses. When I first came here to Thailand to live in 2017, you could drive on a foreign motor license. You still couldn't drive a motorbike on a car license, but they let you. And even the police, I was stopped when I was driving on a car license. I was driving a motorbike. I was stopped by police, and some didn't worry about it. They just waved me on when they saw that I had a license, even though it was a car license. Others fined me 500 baht fine, and then told me to drive away without any problems. But apparently now, you definitely need an international driving license to drive here. If you want to drive here on a motorbike, you need an international driving license. If you want to drive a car, you need an international driving car license. The police, I think, will still allow you to drive a motorbike with a car license, and they might fine you 500 baht and put it in their back pocket. That's a little way of making a little bit more income for them. So even though it's against the law, many things are against the law in Thailand, but the police allow anyway. So that's probably number one on my list, is driving a motorbike. Unless you're 100% confident, don't do it. Number two on my list would be soy dogs and monkeys. It's very sad about soy dogs, and there's so many of them everywhere you go in Thailand. They're just a part of being here. They fall asleep in the road, and you've got to avoid them when driving. They everywhere. You know, you go stop at a 7-Eleven and they're sat outside waiting for someone maybe to give them a little bit of food as they come out of 7-Eleven with a sandwich or something. They're part and parcel of living in Thailand. I mean, I feel so sad for soy dogs, and I always feed them when I can, but they can be vicious. They're hungry, they're desperate, they've got no one to look after them, they're surviving on the streets. So they're not pet dogs, they're not, you know, to be petted. Some are. When I was living here down at the Breeze in Kautaki, I befriended a few soy dogs, and they looked forward to me coming, and they'd run along the beach with their tails wagging because I was bringing food, and I'd pet them. But be very careful if you pet a soy dog, because they might not like it. They're not used to human touch, so they could bite you, and then that means a trip to the hospital for a rabies shot or a tetanus shot or whatever. So yes, they are cute. Some of them look very sad, but be very careful. Same goes with monkeys. Monkeys are cute and lovely to look at, but they're the same. They're vicious. They're not pets. They're not domesticated. So avoid them. Not avoid looking at them. Avoid going somewhere and feeding them where they can snatch it out your hand, because if they scratch you, you'll have to go to hospital. If you don't go to hospital, you could end up in hospital, very sick. So just be aware. Yes, they are here and they're beautiful, and it's very sad to see, but keep your distance. Not so long ago I was filming in Koh Samui, down by the waterfront, and I heard an ambulance coming. As I finished filming, I went outside to go to my motorbike, and someone told me that a little Thai boy who lived in the area, and his mum took her eyes off him for a minute, and he went over to pat a soy dog, and the dog was scared. He didn't want a human coming near him, so he attacked him, and viciously attacked him. And I don't know if he survived. I never heard anything after that, but apparently he was in a pretty bad way when the ambulance took him to hospital. So be aware, soy dogs, monkeys, be careful. Another thing to be wary of, if you're talking with local Thai people, and you're befriending them and they've befriended you, be very careful about talking politics. It's a very sore subject here, and some people love the government that they've got, army government. It's not supposed to be an army government now, because the Prime Minister resigned from the armed forces before the last election, but it's still, everyone knows it's still controlled by the army. So be very careful. It's a sore subject, and not one for someone who's an outsider to get involved in. Likewise, the king. Don't ever make a joke about the king. Don't ever say anything bad about the king. You could end up, virtually, you could end up in prison. It's that you're not allowed to say anything bad about the monarchy. It's in the law. You can't say it, and if you do, and someone reports you, you can be in a lot of trouble. So politics, stay out of. It's not something that you should discuss with a local, and the same, as I say, goes with royalty. You know, best not to say anything. Another thing you should avoid, for your own conscience really, it's up to you to decide what to do when you come here. There's lots of elephant shows, monkey shows, tiger shows, snake shows, all around Thailand. But the problem is, you know, they're not domestic animals. They're not animals that should be treated as something to make money from. You see elephants taking people for rides, 3 or 4 people up in a basket on the back of the elephant, going up and down hills. And that's his life, every day, just going up and down a mountain to take people, tourists, up and down. And I'll be honest, I've done it myself before I realised and before I read about these things. So it's something a lot of people do. You're on holidays and you think, oh yeah, I'll go and ride an elephant. I've never done that before. Same goes with monkeys. Monkeys really shouldn't be trained to do tricks and to do all these things to entertain a few people on holidays. So that's, for me, that's a personal thing, and you know, it's up to you, but I think it's not a good thing for the animals, and I'm an animal lover and I don't like to see it. Go to the elephant sanctuary by all means, because they're fantastic. The sanctuaries, they go and they rescue elephants. They buy the elephants. They raise money and they'll go to an elephant riding place and they'll say, oh, I'll buy your elephant. And they take it back to the sanctuary and try to give it a good life. They charge to get into sanctuaries. That is because it's to pay for the upkeep of the elephant, for the vet, for the food. But you see a happy elephant. When you go to a sanctuary, you don't see this sad beast climbing up and down rocks and mountains with all these people on his back. You see him happy in the water and getting fed. And it really is nice. So yeah, don't avoid a sanctuary. Elephant sanctuaries are fantastic. Another thing you should avoid if you're coming here is getting into an argument with a Thai person. Discussions are good, you can talk and they love to talk to you. But if a Thai person starts to get angry, walk away, or I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, because losing face in Thailand is a big thing. No Thai person likes to lose face, and quite often they will react with anger if you make someone lose face. So if you say something to them that they don't like and they think it's an insult to them, they could react very strongly. So be very, very careful. I love talking with Thai people and I do it all the time, and I've got some very good Thai friends, but I still have to be very careful what I say so not to offend them. And if I do offend them, then I'm quick with an apology. Number 6 on the list would be overstaying your visa. That's definitely a no-no. You can be fined, and if you do it for a long time, if it's a long time you stay here without renewing it, you can be banned from the country. You might never be able to get a visa to re-enter again. And many people think that, oh, I've got a 30-day visa, I'll stay 35 days, it won't make any difference. But as you're leaving the country, they will see it and you will get fined. It's easy. You just go to an immigration office. If you want to stay, they will extend it for you. They want you here. So you go to an immigration office and you say, I want to stay another 30 days. They will grant you a 30-day visa. So do it legally, not illegally. As I said earlier, Thailand's a very religious country, more so than any other country I've ever been to. Living in the UK, Australia, I would say majority of people weren't religious, but maybe, I don't know, I just pick a number out of the air, maybe 20% of the population were religious. Here, I would say 95% of the population will be religious, 90% of them will be Buddhist, and 5% will be Muslim. So if you're going to be coming to the country, you have to be careful not to insult their religion. You should always dress appropriately when going to a temple. Ladies should wear, not have their legs showing, and not having and the tops covered as well. Some temples will offer clothing if they think you're not dressed appropriately. They have the spare, and you can just put these over the top of your clothes. Others just won't let you in. For men, you're allowed to wear shorts, but not tiny little shorts, not singlets, even though I have seen people go there, and I actually went there not so long ago wearing a singlet and swimmers because I was diverted there. But it's a no-no. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. So yeah, be careful if you're going to go to a temple. If you do go to a temple, never insult a Buddhist, never insult Buddha. I was in Big Buddha in Phuket a couple of years ago, and I saw these two idiots from the UK, from my country, wearing football shirts. Now I won't tell you what team because I don't want to embarrass anyone, but they were a London team. They wear blue. The name of the team starts with a C and ends with an A, but I won't go tell you who it was. Anyway, for a photo opportunity, we sat on the shoulders of a Buddha statue, and they were thinking it was funny, but 5 minutes later a crowd had appeared. They dragged them off and they dragged them outside. Whether they gave him a beating, I don't know, or whether they just shouted at him and told him to go away, I don't know. But so never insult Buddha. Always be respectful to monks. If you're a lady, you can't touch a monk. You can't touch his clothing. You can talk to him and he'll talk back to you. That's not a problem. But you can't touch a monk. If you're a man, they're very happy to talk to you. Just be respectful. Yeah, it's their religion, and you do have to show respect. If you come into Thailand, you've probably heard a lot about Thailand before coming. You've done your research, and you probably think Thai ladies are easy because of what you see in lady bars and massage shops, and you think, oh yeah, you know, Thai ladies easy. They're not. Thai ladies are very shy. Even Thai ladies in bar are shy. Not all, but some I've met who are very shy. But the majority of Thai ladies are very shy. So don't ever think like you might do in your own country. You greet someone, you give them a little peck on the cheek. Don't do that unless you know them well and you know they don't mind. I did that once. My ex-girlfriend took me to see her sister, and thinking that it's okay to do that with it being a relative of my girlfriend, when we introduced, I said, oh, Swaddy cab, kun Swaddy my cab? And she said, yeah, kun Swaddy my. And I went to give her a kiss on the cheek. Oh, and she, no. And her husband looked at me, and I think he was going to hit me, because it's definitely a no-no. It's not something that you should do. But I didn't know that. I hadn't been in the country long enough, and it was my first relationship, and I didn't know that you weren't to do that. So yeah, don't think that all Thai ladies are going to be easy and you can just say what you want and do what you want. You can't. Treat them with a lot of respect. They deserve respect. If you're invited to a Thai person's house for dinner, for lunch, or you're out having dinner with Thai people, in Thailand when they have dinner or lunch or breakfast, it's an occasion. They sit there for a long time and they talk and eat and enjoy the company. It's not just a meal to them, it's a way of socializing. So when you go out for dinner and you sat with someone who's Thai, it's a journey, not a race. You know, in England, I just eat, my dinner will be put down, I just eat it, and I talk to my family, but it's over fairly quickly. Here, you tend to sit and have a little bit, and a lot of the time it's in the middle of the table, so you eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not always just a plate for you, it's a plate to share. So if you're going to be sharing with someone, take your time, watch what they're doing. That's always a good thing for me. I learn from Thai people. I watch what they're doing, I learn from them. That's how I learned about temples, by watching what the Thai people did in temples. And the same with eating. I realised that my eating habits in the West are different to eating habits in Asia. So just take your time, slow down. It's better for your stomach anyway to eat slowly, and make a night of it, not just dinner's over in 20 minutes, where do we go now? Also, they eat here with a spoon and fork, not so much a knife and fork, unless they're getting a big piece of meat, which is very rare. Thai people don't eat steaks, lamb chops like we do. Most things are cut up, ready to eat in bite-sized pieces. But they eat with a spoon and fork. The fork is used to push the food onto the spoon, and you eat with the spoon. No one's going to say anything if you don't. If you want to use a knife and fork, or if you want to put the food on your fork like you'd normally do in Western countries, but just so that you fit in better, just use the spoon and fork. As I said, watch what they're doing, watch how they eat, watch their manners, watch everything they do, and remember it and imitate it. You'll be a lot more accepted if you eat the same as them. They'll think, oh yeah, I see some farang they don't eat very good, but this farang eats very good. So you know, you get something out of it as well. You get some merit out of it. If you go to the beach, this is mainly for ladies. I see a lot of farang ladies, a lot of Western ladies come here, and they do what they do in the south of France or in Jamaica or Bahamas. They go to the beach and take their tops off and just, you know, go topless bathing. I don't care about that, and I think most men don't care about that. But a lot of Thai ladies don't like it. A lot of Thai men don't like it. They think it's not ladylike. It's not the thing to do. Just remember, you're in somebody else's country. You're not in a country that accepts that. Yes, go to south of France, they accept it. They think, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yep, take your top off. Here, it's seen as a no-no. It's not accepted by any means. No one will tell you, or I would doubt very much, maybe someone would tell you if they're very, very anti-topless, if they think it's not good to see. Maybe they have children with them. They might come over and say, hey, would you mind putting your top on? But most people will just look at you and tut, 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 and say, talk amongst themselves and say, look at this lady. Oh, so if you do come here, don't go topless. Save that for your next holiday in south of France. You should also, that's men and ladies, wear a mask at all times when you're outside walking around. Not when you're eating, same as in the West, but they're very strong on that here. I know in the West a lot of people, they fight it. They think, no, I'm not wearing it. It's against my principles. They're taking away my rights. And yeah, that's up to you in your own country. This is not your country. This is Thailand, and different rules, different country. They do expect you to wear a mask. And if you don't, they will stare you down. You might get someone coming up to you and telling you to put a mask on, especially in a shopping centre. They won't let you in a shop without a mask. You can't go in 7-Eleven. They won't let you in the shop unless you put your hand up and get your temperature taken from that little machine and put alcohol on your hands. Very strict here, and I think it's a good thing, because if you look at the figures, if you can believe the figures the Thai government put out, they're a lot lower than the rest of the world for the size of the country, 70 million people. They've done very well to keep the figures down, and a lot of that is because everyone wears a mask, everyone obeys the rules, everyone listens to what they're told by their government, and do what they should to try to prevent the spread. I've just done number 10, but I'm going to throw in a bonus one because I've just thought of it. If you go out for a drink, which a lot of people do, they come here, that's what they come here for. They want to go Pattaya or Samui or Phuket and party. If you do and you get drunk, be very careful that you don't abuse somebody or get into a fight or into an argument with someone through drink. I've seen lots of articles in the newspapers, on the news, about Farang who've come here, say somewhere like Pattaya for instance. See it mainly in Pattaya because it seems to be a place that attracts single men more, and they love to drink and they love to take ladies from bars. But if you do drink, be careful, because if you do get into a fight with someone through drink, you say something stupid to someone. Thai people, they love Farang because of money. They love it because we come here as tourists. But sometimes we're not loved by Thai people. It's just the money they like. So when we make a mistake and when we do things that they dislike, they get very angry. It's their country. They don't want to see a drunken Farang slobbering all over a lovely girl. They don't want to see a Farang fighting with his girlfriend. They don't want to see a Farang fighting with a barman or with another Thai man. If you want to fight with a Farang man, they'll leave you alone. It's up to you. They don't care about that. But if you're fighting or arguing with a Thai person, then they might step in. And then if you're drunk, you know, you're not in control of your emotions, you might let your mouth go and say something that you shouldn't say. And Thai men, they're very tiny, a lot of them, but they're tough and they've been brought up the hard way. You really don't want to get into a fight with one. And not only that, if the one, even if you started to better him, if you were getting the better of him, then other Thai people will jump in and you could end up in a lot of problems. So that's number 11. I'll throw that one in as a bonus. I know that you probably know most of these things anyway, but the things you do in your own country are not the same as what you do here. That's all I'm saying. I know that when I was in Australia, I could go out for a night out and I was guaranteed to see drunken fighting at the end of the night, or a big bar fight because someone's lost a pool game. And the same in the UK, the same in the USA. See it all the time. But I've lived here for 5 years. I've never seen a fight yet. I've seen it in the papers where it's been in Pattaya, in Phuket, or even in Hua Hin. It's been here, but I've never actually witnessed it. Whereas I witness it on a regular basis back in countries I've lived in the West. All these things, common sense. Just be aware that you're in somebody else's country, treat it with respect, and they'll treat you with respect.
So, if you haven't already done so, please push the subscribe button. It'll help me a lot. Thank you very much. And push the thumbs up button. And if you know of anyone who might like to watch my videos, push the link button and forward that to them. If you're thinking of retiring or living in Thailand, please take a look at my book, The Retiring Thailand Handbook, the first 6 months. You'll find it on Amazon. It's crammed full of information to help you tiptoe over the logistics of making Thailand your home in retirement. Thanks a lot for watching my video. So until next time, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now.